conversations this morning, and I just wanted to share them with you. So the name of this live is called Whiners Convincing and Doing Business with Strangers. So I am in this really amazing course right now about building a experience-based product. And so one of the things that we have been encouraged to do is have conversations with people about our product, about what we're doing, and inviting people into our business in a way that's, it's just easy, it's light, it's fun. And so for me, I already have a funnel. So if you wanted to have a conversation with me, you just answer a few questions, upload your human design chart, and then book your session, and voila, you're in. You get all the reminders. And so I had two different messages from people who were like, well, that's too many questions to answer, and do I really have to upload my chart? And then even, it was so funny this morning, somebody said that they used the word disingenuous of me to ask people questions before they hop on a session with me. And so I was like, wow, that felt like such an insult to be called disingenuous for wanting to know more about somebody before I offer them a chat with me. And so it was so funny. I had to ask myself a lot of questions. I actually asked my son to facilitate me this morning about that word disingenuous. And so, so I've been facilitating myself, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool to invite you guys into sort of a self-facilitation session with me about, like, how do I do business best, and what's the best way for me to do business? And so it also invites you to know how you do business best. So my profile is something called a hermit opportunist. So the 2 is the first number in my profile, which is a hermit, which basically just kind of wants to be left alone and, like maybe hang out with the people that I want to hang out with. I'm not like a socialite. I'm not a sorority girl. A lot of my life, I want to be left alone. So it may be a pretty good idea for somebody like me to need a protocol for people to go through before they actually get to book a session with me. And so it's not like I'm asking for a ton of things. I'm just asking for you to answer a few questions before you jump into a call with me. And so that 2 energy wants to be left alone. And it's so funny, So 2 people were like whining about having to answer a few questions before they could book a session with me. And I kind of was asking questions about that. I'm like, okay, well, what do I need to know about this? Is this even my problem? And so I had a great conversation with another gal pal of mine this morning. Well, first my son, who facilitated me, and then a gal pal of mine that facilitated me, but also the lady that I ended up having a session with this morning, like chatting about our experience in this experience-based product masterclass. She said that she was very curious about what the other people were complaining about. And so she answered the questions. She dropped her human design chart in, and we talked for like an hour and a half about my business and a lot about her business, because I was just so fascinated about what it is that she's doing for business. So I ended up giving her a reading and talking to her about the structure of her business and learning more about her business, because she was so willing to share the information in the initial questionnaire. So it turned her from, like a stranger into somebody that I actually wanted to share value with. And, and then all of a sudden I'm getting all of these downloads for her about what she could do in her business and, how she can protect herself and her energy and like a whole bunch of different things that she has in her chart. And so what do I want to leave you with? If someone's whining about what they have to do in order to be able to get a free session with you or have a conversation with you, then they're not the right clients for you guys. They're just not. And so, you can struggle with that as much as you like. You can ask questions as much as you like. But also, one of the things that I got this morning when I was facilitating myself and having conversations with these other gorgeous people was that, it was more their response, like, wow, I could never ask that many questions. I'm not worth that much that I could ask those questions of people before they even have a conversation with me. So it was more the reflection of how they felt about themselves. And it had nothing to do with me, even though this person used this very triggering word, disingenuous. I don't have to be triggered by it, but I was. So yeah, very interesting. And so convincing, here's the thing. There are a huge part of the population, 70% of the population are generators. And so they have a sacral response to whether or not they're going to do business with you. They may have an emotional response as well. So they may have to wait a tiny bit, but they're going to get an initial hit on whether or not they want to do business with you. They'll be like, they'll be leaning towards you. They'll be nodding their head. They actually want to do business with you. And so they need to be given permission to do business with you. So if you have robust systems that invite people in and continue to invite people in and continue to contact people until they're ready to say yes to you, then that's great. That's part of wowing them. Being sort of omnipresent. And, the people who have to be convinced, the people that you have to have a huge conversation with and like take out your Rolodex of, all your certifications and, everything that you've ever learned, for people like me, that doesn't actually work for me. If I have to convince you that you want to do business with me, then I'm going to have to convince you at every single step of the sales cycle. And that's kind of exhausting. I don't want to be exhausted. I want to actually be energized at working with my clients, And it was so funny, this lady that I ended up having a really great conversation with this morning about what she's doing. It was so energizing. I'm so excited. I just want to tell everybody, and that's part of, my 4 energy, that opportunist energy really wants to connect people and really wants to, I have it all over my chart, this connecting thing where I'm like, oh, well, my friend is doing this and you're looking for somebody like that. I need to connect you guys. And so in the convincing part of the equation, if I have to convince people that this referral that I have for them is good for them, again, it is just exhausting. I don't want to do that. If I'm getting an intuitive hit that you should meet this person and both of you will be better from the equation, then yeah, there's a huge part of me that's like, well, if I'm getting the hit, you kind of have to listen. So I have to convince people to listen. Then it's just not for me. I'm just not your person. If I have to convince you that I'm already getting an intuitive hit that you need to meet somebody else, yeah, just doesn't work for me. So have a look at that for your business, guys. Does it actually work for you to be in a position to convince clients to work with you? And that's not what the sales process is like. A sales process is like inviting somebody into the party called your business. And, so if you're excited about what's going to happen in the party called your course or your VIP or, what you do in your sessions, then, conveying that level of excitement to the people who are ready to receive the broadcast called your level of excitement about what it is that you're doing in your business. So they're ready to receive it. Does that make sense, you guys? If they're ready to receive it, they're going to receive it. And if they're not ready to receive it, then just continue to invite them, but don't go into convincing. It was so funny. I was like, the first person who was like, but I have to put my chart in there. I was like, would it be fun for you to know how your body best does business? And then to the person who was like saying that I was disingenuous for wanting to know more about her, well, oh well, your loss, lady. So weird. So weird. So there is a huge part of the population, I would say a giant part of the population, who will never be equipped to do business with strangers. So this like online thing where you think you just get like one Facebook ad up and, you know, you do the Frank Kern formula and, you know, all of a sudden magically you're going to be turning over $100,000 worth of sales every month. Okay, it could happen. But for somebody like me, who, number one, I'm a hermit. So, you know, good luck finding me if you're not meant to do business with me. Like, you wouldn't be even looking at this video if, you know, if there wasn't some sort of energetic connection or an actual referral to me. So it can be magic. It can be a little bit of quantum mechanics working, putting me in front of you. But in most cases, the reason why you would see this is because you already have friends who have done business with me. And so for anybody with a 2 in their profile, they're really not meant to do business with strangers. And in fact, I would hazard a guess that anybody without a 5 predominant in their chart, you know, those are the type of people like that can, you know, put an ad up on Facebook or, you know, do a Facebook Live and all of a sudden, you know, convert 25 or 50 or 100 or 150 people into their next program. They've got it in their profile. They are the most transpersonal. They are the fixers. And so you can't make that wrong about you. We all have the thing that we're meant to do. You know, the 2 is kind of like a medicine woman or a shaman or a medicine man. And so you only go to the medicine man when you need medicine. And you know, I mean, you might go to hang out. You might be like, hey, Joe, can I just come up to your shack and hang out? And Joe's like, well, bring a chicken and you can hang out. So don't make that wrong about you. You know, you're probably not meant to do business with whiners. You know, because if they whine at what it takes to get on your schedule, they're going to whine at every single session. And is that actually going to be fun for your body to fulfill on working with whiners? Not for me, not for me, not for me. I always say I work with show ponies. You know, show ponies love it when you brush their mane and tail and get all the burrs out. Show ponies love it when you scrub them down and make them all shiny. Show ponies love it when they learn new things, you know. So I grew up in a horse farm. And so there's a difference between a show pony and a horse that just wants to be a broodmare. And I prefer to work with show ponies, people who want to learn new things, people who don't whine. And so I'm going to invite you in your business, whatever it is, to make it a little bit more difficult to do business with you, so that you have a higher echelon of clientele that you're working with. It's interesting. I'm doing a soft launch of a course next week inside my Facebook group where I teach people how to wow their clients at every phase of the sales cycle. So they get talked about, so that they get referred, and so that it's easy for them to enroll their clients and just continue to wow them. And in order to do that, I thought, okay, well, I'm not 100% sure what my clients would like a course on and a product on. And so I did a launch survey and I asked a bunch of questions. And the number one thing people wanted to do was move themselves up the ladder in income. And they wanted to work with better clientele that, you know, weren't whiny. It didn't say that specifically, but I think that that's what they meant. And so that's what I'm launching next week. So what I'm recommending to you, is to make it a little harder to work with you, and not in a way that makes it difficult for people to work with you, but you might want to ask them a few questions before they can get on your calendar. And if you don't actually have a calendar booking system, that might be a little bit too hard to work with you, FYI. Please have a calendar booking system. And then people who need convincing, well, it can be that the questions that you ask in the part where you're inviting people in to have a talk with you or a discovery session with you will help you identify and help them identify whether or not you're going to be a good fit. So, if you have questions about what it is that you'd be working on, how interested out of 10 are you in working on this thing? And so most schedulers will allow you to ask people questions, and if you need some information from them. For me, I get people to upload their human design profiles so that I can actually have a look at it before I even meet with them, so I already know where I can add value. So there may be some things that you would like them to show you so that you already know them, so that they become less of a stranger. Because remember, if you don't have that 5 in your profile, you're not meant to do business with strangers. You might be ready for a thriving referral business. I have the 4, which is the natural networker. And so I'm highly referable, but definitely not meant to do business with strangers. And that's the thing. If you're not meant to do business with strangers and you're trying to do business with strangers, then it can be really disheartening. You can really, really get down on yourself. You're like, I've done every single thing, and I'm still not able to invite people into my sales process the way that I would like to. And so if you're feeling like that, then it's probably time that we have a talk. But I know how this works. You need to stalk me for a little bit before we can ever have a talk. You need to actually get to know me better before inviting me to get to know you better. And so that's what I'm going to leave you with today. Is next week inside my group called The Joyful Entrepreneur, you can go to community.jenniferkramerlewis.com, community.jenniferkramerlewis.com, and join that group, answer the questions, and we'll let you in. I'm having a week-long event inside that group, and it's called How to Plan Your Week for Passion, Productivity, Possibility, and Profit. How to plan your week for passion, productivity, possibility, and profit. And so I'm going to show you this proprietary process of mine that I've been teaching people in my VIPs and inviting them to know more about. Because for me, the only reason to do business is so that I can have fun with it, and so that I can have profit, and so that I can open people's worlds up to more possibilities, and to show them that the things that they're excited about, the things that they're really good at, are the things that they're here to do and make money from. So that's my invitation. If any of this has been valuable to you, if you could put a thumbs up on this, I would love that. If you've had any friends talking to you about changing how they do business, about making more money, about attracting new clientele into their business, or somehow they're attracting really whiny people that they have to convince and they want to have more fun in business, if you could tag them on this post wherever you find it. If there's anything that I've said that's been remarkable that you've really received information about, I'd love for you to let me know what that is. You can send me a DM or you can put it in the chat. And yeah, thanks so much for showing up today, you guys. We've had 4 to 6 down to 4 to 2, a bunch of different people watching already. And so I really appreciate that. I know there's a lot of traffic out there. And if anything has been valuable to you, I'd sure love to know what it is, because I do plan my posts around what people are listening to. I also have a radio show on Friday afternoons on Inspired Choices Network called Big Fat Lies, where I invite you to open your eyes to the big fat lies that are stopping you from having so much fun in your life and in your business, and so much profitability and passion and productivity. And so that's the invitation. Join my group called The Joyful Entrepreneur at community.jenniferkramerlewis.com. And then also join me next week inside that group for how to plan your week for passion, productivity, possibility, and profit. And then also I'll see you on Inspired Choices Network on Friday afternoon. So see you guys. Take care.